Welcome back, everybody. It's Sarcasm Speaks. Jared and Bob here, and I got an opening rant here. I was going to use it as my final thought, but I decided I will again open with a rant, and I will use something else as my final thought. So, as I mentioned in a previous episode, I've been playing a lot of Twilight golf lately. So I went out last night and I played at Chemawa. Usually if I can get there between 6 and 6:30, I end up catching the league anyway. So usually I have to still wait on every tee, somewhere either like the 14th or the 15th hole. So last night I play, I'm cruising. Now, granted, it's like a relatively short par, or it's a downhill par 4 and then a par 3. But I played the first 2 holes in, I think it was 12 minutes. So I was cruising. And that also helps when you actually hit good shots. Definitely helps pace of play there. So I get through, and I get to, what is that? That's the 12th hole. So I get to the 12th hole. That's that's a big downhill par 4. Hit my drive. It was kind of a low stinger, not on purpose. It was a fuck up, but it ended up being really good because it caught the edge of the fairway and just ran all the way down the hill. I don't know. I had whatever I had in, call it 80 yards or something. I hit the shot on the green and I go, wow, this is great. A drive that wasn't good, but ended up not killing me. And my second shot, I'm on the green. Fantastic. So I go to walk up on the green on the 12th hole at Chemawa, and there's a fucking chunk missing out of the 12th green. So, and the divot pattern is going like east-west. So obviously I would imagine most people that listen to this podcast have not played the Chemawa golf course, except shout out to Nick and Mary, local guys. But the 12th hole kind of runs near the 18th hole. The 12th green and the 18th green are basically right next to each other. There's some like trees and fences and shit in the way, but for all intents and purposes, they're right next to each other. So I gathered some dickhead hit their ball, 4 right on their approach shot to the 18th green. And the ball was on the 12th green. And they decided to take a wedge and play it as it lies, right? Oh, those are the rules. And took a fucking chunk out of the 12th green. Probably, I don't know, roughly like 4 inches, right? So, the width of the head of a golf club. So I don't know what that is, maybe 2.5 inches, 3 inches by about 4 inches long. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of uncultured fucking swine does shit like that? Like, and I took a picture of it and I sent it to you on Snapchat, and I said, I think I said something like, this cocksucker deserves to be hung by their toenails, right? Like, now that green is fucking ruined. Well, not the whole green is ruined, but like that area of the green is fucked now, right? So like the pin placement, right? They're probably only going to be able to put the pin, in the back of the green or on the right side of the green, because this crevasse, if you will, was on like the front left portion of the green. It's just a dickhead move, right? Like, you're an absolute fucking moron if you're going to hit a wedge off of a fucking green.
Do you know what the actual ruling is on your ball being on someone else's putting green?
I do not.
It's actually a penalty to hit it.
Really?
Yep. If you're on a different putting green, you are not supposed to play that ball.
Oh, wow.
you get a free drop off the green.
Oh, that's good to know.
Probably for reasons like you just explained.
Yeah, yeah. And now again, so Chamawa, it's a small course, right? Like it's short, like lengthwise, it's short. Um, but the one thing I will say is it's a very, very well kept course. Like the grass is always green. Like it's it's the rough gets thick. Like it's the greens are well taken care of. Like there's never any like brown spots, fucking hard pan, like none of that. Not it's not Heather Hill, right? Again, the local guys would only get that, but it's and I mean obviously it's also not a private course either, right? Like I mean like it's great conditions for what it is as a public course that gets played quite a bit. They have league. I think they have leagues every single night of the week, Monday through Friday. But it's just it's a very nice course. Again, it costs $27 to play 9 holes, to walk 9, and you can't beat it. Like you literally cannot beat it for any course in this area for what it is, for that price. So it just aggravates the shit out of me when I see when I see shit like that, right? Because it's like you're just a fucking loser, right? Like you're I don't even know. I'm just flabbergasted, really, that someone at a local public course, right, would be like, oh, I have to hit a wedge off the green. Like, what possesses someone to even want to do that, right? Like, because you're obviously not good. You're not a good golfer because you hit it way fucking right. And even if you were a good golfer, you did hit it right, right? They say you hit a toe shank or something, you wouldn't hit it off the green because you don't do that.
Yeah. Like again, rule or not, it's like courtesy to not do that.
Yeah. Because like I
Because
said, now that whole front left section of the green is basically off limits.
yeah, people are so it's funny. People are just such assholes. It's like everyone's so fucking lazy. It's like just fucking fix your ball marks and replace your fucking divots. Oh, and I don't know, maybe don't fucking scalp the fucking green.
Yeah.
I was with a kid, he scalped a green one time, but it was completely by accident. He missed the putt, got pissed, went to whack his ball, hit it fat,
Oh,
scalped the green.
oh, yeah, that's that's not good. Did he at least put it back?
He did, but I mean, like at that rate, like what are you gonna
Yeah.
do?
Well, that's the other thing for me too, right? Like if you're gonna hit the wedge and you do leave like a 4 inch long divot, you're gonna at least put it back because they clearly didn't. It was just dirt. It was literally a
Yeah,
four by
it had burned
three,
out.
yeah, a 4x3 rectangle of dirt.
Truthfully, I don't know. I don't know what makes it grow back faster. Would it be replacing that divot? Because I mean, the one you had was old. Like that
Yeah,
was definitely burnt out.
right.
Um, so like I wonder if like the grounds crew just got rid of it. I don't
Yeah,
know. Like I don't know how to resurface a green.
yeah. And the greens just got punched like maybe like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean you can put like micro blades into that to help it like come back a little,
Yeah,
but it's just time.
yeah. It sucks, right? Like it's annoying because like the greens keep like the grounds crew is going to be like, what the fuck? Now they have to deal with that shit. It's just like you said, it's common courtesy, right? Like I don't know. You're just a fucking loser, if that's what it comes down to. If you're gonna try and hit a wedge or any club really off a green that's not yours, especially at the amateur level, right? Like there's no
An amateur
reason.
level, a fucking recreational level.
Yeah, at a recreational level. Yeah, even better. That's a way better choice of words, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're on a massive green that's like 75 feet long and you're right on the edge of it. You're like, oh, I could try and putt it. Oh, maybe I can chip it and get it a little bit closer. No, you're not fucking chipping it. You're not going to chip the ball on the fucking green just because you're 70 feet away. Like, you're not doing it. Like, if I was playing with someone that was like about to do that, I'd be like, "You for real going to do that? You're gonna chip off the green, right?" Like, I would say something to him. Fuck that.
Yeah, I mean, no one knows. Like, I feel fairly confident I could chip off a green and not make a divot, but I also know that there's definitely a risk that I do make a divot. And I
Right?
and I actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just not worth it.
Well, there's no point.
Yeah.
Well, one again, you're not supposed to, like by rule.
Right. Right.
Oh, well, I paid my greens fee. Yeah, I bet you did, man.
I'm gonna get my money's worth. Cool,
Yeah,
man. You're gonna get all $27 worth,
yeah, fucking
or
dickhead.
whatever it is, 55 if you're playing 18. Yeah. So, oh, so that was the one thing, right? That was the 12th hole. Then I get to 13 and I play 13. Um, I get to 14 and there is it's a man and a woman. I can't really see them, but they're on the green because that's the back-to-back par threes. Um, so I get to 14. They're like putting when I'm on the tee box. Not a big deal. Um, I only waited a couple minutes. And then I get to the 15th hole, and the turns out it looked like a son and a mom. The guy was probably around our age, and the woman looked like she was, in her 50s or 60s. Um, Either that or she's a cougar, and good for you, whatever. But so I walk up to the tee box on 15. The sun had already hit, and the woman was at the red tees, and I just kind of stand there, and the woman turns around and sees me, and then just turns right back around, goes to her tee box, hits her drive about 75 yards, and then I have to wait probably what felt like almost 10 minutes for her to take three more shots before she was out of not my driving range necessarily, but like out of the range of like me being a dickhead hitting my drive to within, 15, 20 yards of her. Right. So then they get on the green. I hit my tee shot and I piped it down the right side of the fairway. And I walk up. Now, I don't know if you remember this. This is the hole that has like the massive valley in it. So you got to walk like down the hill, up the hill.
Going back up towards the house.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So it takes me a second, right, to walk up the hill. I'm not going to sprint up the fucking hill. So I get up to the top of the hill. I get to my ball, and they're still on the green. They're still putting. So I just stand there. Whatever. No big deal. They finish up. They walk off. They go over to the 16th tee, which is like that massive drop off with the par three. And I hit my second shot a little bit long and right. That's fine. I chip on two putts. I get out of there. And by that time, as I was walking over to the tee box, the woman had just hit and they were going again. So like I missed them there, but like you could have waited like 2 minutes for me to walk off the green to the tee box, but they didn't. So whatever. So we get to the 16th hole again, short downhill par three. I wait for them to finish the entire hole, right? Because it's a par three. I hit it just on the fringe, on the back edge of the green, putt it to like 4 feet and tap it in, par, walk off. Now we get to the 17th tee. It's the son and the mom, and then in front of them is the end of the league, right? Their league guys. So they had just hit their approach shots into the green as I was walking over to the 17th tee. And I stand there. They don't look at me. And I walk a little bit closer. And The son turns and goes, "Hey man, how you doing?" I go, "Good, how are you?" "Good, good, good, yeah." So then the mom goes, "Oh, beautiful night, huh? Great weather." "Yeah, it is. It's a great one." Son hits his tee shot. Mom walks up to the red tee, hits her tee shot. And I'm still standing there in awe that they haven't said anything. And the son's like, "All right, man, well, have a good one." And I go, "Actually, hold up. Do you guys mind if I just like join in with you for the last two holes?" And they just like stopped and looked at each other and was like, the mom was like, yeah, sure." I'm like, "Are you fucking serious? Like, you weren't gonna let me join? I'm literally standing on the tee box before you even teed off, and you're not gonna let me join in with you?"
That'll they let you go through. Usually
Yeah,
you got to
either
pick
way,
one.
which I understand why they wouldn't let me go through, because the league guys are in front of them too, right? So it's not like I'm going anywhere.
Right.
Um, but and neither one of them was that good. Like obviously the mom played like a stereotypical, woman in her 50s and 60s on a golf course, right? Like it doesn't go far, but it stays mostly straight and takes her about three shots to get as far as my one shot. But not that I'm like a fucking bomber or anything, but the kid hit a tee shot into the woods on his first tee shot on 17, hit his second one almost back in the same spot in the woods. Again, not that I've never done any of this either. I'm not trying to like poo poo anything, but like have some common sense that you're not going to play this hole quickly, right? Like, again, it comes back to common courtesy, common sense. Like on the golf course, like this is what you do. You don't hit fucking wedges off of greens ever. Doesn't matter if they're your green or the adjacent green. And if someone is standing on the tee box behind in the by themselves, right, as a single, and you haven't even teed off yet, how hard is it to be like, "Hey man, you want to just join in with us? It's two holes left, right?" And nobody, yeah, hop in. No, they didn't say a word. And when the guy actually talked to me, he was like, "All right, y'all, see you later, man." And I had to stop him and ask to join their group, to which they reluctantly said yes. So I played with them for 17 and 18.
People suck, man.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? And people like they joke around, or they think I'm joking when I say I hate everybody. It's no, it's true. I do hate everybody, like literally every single person. I hate them. And it's because of shit like that, right? Like the golf course last night was a microcosm for life in general. Everyone's an asshole, and I hate all of them.
Pretty much. I mean, that basically sums up society.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't know. Sometimes it somehow it still blows my mind.
I think that's on you, though.
Yeah, I know that's fair. That's a fair point. Yeah. So fuck everybody and
All right.
everything.
So, on the golf theme,
Yeah.
I have some lighthearted or more lighthearted stories because I played an event yesterday.
Nice.
So I played at LeBaron and just a tour Greater Boston event. So I'm gonna skip ahead to the 12th hole. I'm 5 over, and I have hit greens 8 through 11. So I'm got a 4 green streak.
Yeah.
So it's a short par 4 with a lot of trouble around. Like there's water, there's bunkers, whatever. So first guy goes, hits into a hazard. I go, kind of push it, but I end up finding him in the fairway. And then the two guys after me both hit into a bunker on like almost like near my ball, but my ball didn't have enough gas and just drew enough. So I get up to my ball. The guy in the hazard drops, hits into the hazard again. Meanwhile, the second guy spikes his rangefinder and against his cup holder in the cart. Then walks over to his ball, which is a shitty lie in the bunker, and it stays in the bunker. The third guy hits his ball out of the bunker into another bunker. So now our guy that hit into the hazard and then hit into the hazard again, he has to hit another one. Hits it end up like over the green. So now, like after all that, they're all kind of green side. And I have an 87-yard shot that I would like to hit well. I'm like sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, kind of a lot going on here.
Yeah.
So I hit my wedge. I actually hit it to 4 feet.
Nice.
Hit it really good. And the guy gets in, one of the guys gets in the cart. He goes, yeah, it kind of felt bad. Like Rome's burning around you and you're just sitting there thinking about that fucking wedge shot, huh? And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
like whatever. So whatever, everyone makes their way in various methods, high numbers, lots of counting, whatever. So fast forward to the 15th hole, and I have now hit every green from hole 8 to 14. And my birdie on 12 has me at 4 over now.
Nice.
So it's been a lot of like hit the green, 2-putt, get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
So I got 197 to the pin on a par 5. Wind is coming at me and a little bit to the left. And it's all carryover water. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, well, 197. So not only am I in between hybrids because of that wind, I'm like, I don't know if the 4 is enough gas. I don't know if the 3 is too much gas. And if I don't hit it well, I'm wet no matter what. And then I'm sitting there like trying to figure out what to do. Guy with me, he's close by. And he goes, well, give it a run. Grabs his like 3-wood or 5-wood or something, hits it, wet. But we don't know that it's wet. It just looks like it didn't splash, but we don't know if it's out of the hazard.
Right.
So I go, fuck it. I go, not only am I not committed to this, I just watched that. I go, give me a wedge, hit it down, left me a wedge in. So we're going by, guy takes his hat, he just throws it out of the cart. He goes, that's my line in case my ball isn't up there. So we drive up. He's looking for his ball. Can't find it. I hit my wedge onto the green. We drive back to where his hat is, puts a ball down, hits that, splash. Puts another one down, hits that. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. And like these are good players. Like,
yeah.
The people in my group handicaps were well on the course. So pretty much subtract like 1, 1.5, 2 from these numbers, but it was like a 6, an 8, and like a 7.
So
and like so their index,
it's still single digits.
Yeah,
even with the adjustment.
Yeah, single digits ish. I don't know about the other guy. Maybe he was a 12 on the course, so a 10 normally, something like that. But yeah, 10 or below, we'll call it. And all this shit's fucking happening. So he hits the next one over, rolls that in, crowd pleasing 7. I 2-putt, move on with my life. Which brings us to 16. I am still 4 over par. I have now hit every green from 8 to 15. And one of the guys steps up, hits his ball, kind of pulls it, could be OB. All right. Hits a provisional, pops up a 3-wood. So he's in the middle of the fairway, but he's like a billion yards away.
Right.
So we drive up looking for that ball, can't find it. It's probably in a cranberry bog, whatever. So we're sitting by the bunker because that's where my playing partner is. We hear the ball. We hear the buzz. He fucking hit an absolute cold shank from the middle of the fairway and almost hit the guy I was playing with.
Holy shit.
So now this guy still has probably 175 yards in the bunker. So he hits his bunker shot and it goes long and over the green. At that point, me and my playing partner drive up and like we're moving on. He's still back there because now he thinks that that ball's out of bounds. So he's like in the bunker out of the bunker, in the bunker, out of the bunker, hits another ball, thinking it like hits another provisional.
Yeah.
That's on the green. But the only problem is when we get up to the green, he didn't know it was like a red stake. So now
Oh God.
with that red stake, so it was the fifth ball or shot number 5 on this par 4 was the one that went out of the bunker and gone.
Right.
So now he's dropping 6 is the penalty, drop 7
Right.
near the green because that other ball has to be abandoned. Chunks the 7th chip,
Oh God.
chips 8 onto the green, 2 putts for 10.
Wow.
I hit that green and missed like an 11-footer. So I was playing with fire all day, so I had some gross tee shots. So I ended up 6 over for the event. So I was 4 over at that point. I did finish bogey 17 18. I just didn't get any more luck. I got a lot of luck early on. So that same guy that made the 10 on that 16th hole, he rolls in like a 20-footer for birdie on 18. And he just starts like dying laughing.
I mean, how can you not
He
laugh at
shot 81 with 5 birdies and a 10
Wow.
on one of the holes.
Wow. An 81 with a 10.
Yep. So that's 6. So he shot 9 over par for the event, was 6 over just on the 16th hole. And yeah, 5 birdies.
Yeah. That's absolutely insane.
Psychotic.
Yeah, that is a psycho scorecard.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, not for nothing. It's like I got all this shit going on around me. And it was like I knew I was playing okay.
Yeah.
Like the thing that was weird though is like I was hitting my tee balls kind of skanky. So it's like I never felt like I was like really dialed in.
Right.
I just felt like kind of lucky. And then I was like hitting all these greens because I ended up hitting like 12 greens. And I think that's what 9 in a row, 8 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hit 9 in a row, but I parred them. Oh, I know I made 1 birdie. So I only made 1 birdie because everything was like 24 feet.
Right.
But yeah, I got all this shit going on around me. And then with like we were even like running into like we ran into so many fucking rules things. Like thank God I had one of the fucking guys that like runs the Tour Greater Boston with me. Cause then it's like it's weird because it's like if you're in a hazard, or no, I guess if you hit from anywhere and you think your ball is gonna be lost or OB, you can hit a provisional.
Right.
And then if that ball does turn out to be lost,
Your provisional turns into the third shot.
If it's off the tee, yeah. So you have to take you got to take a stroke in distance. So if you hit your like approach and it goes 3 is the penalty, you hit 4 from the exact same spot. So now you're effectively it ends up being like a 2-stroke penalty for lost ball OB. But if you hit a provisional for a lost ball OB ball, and then you get up there and discover a hazard that you didn't know existed, then I guess this is just what I've been told. I don't know. I guess then you can now take the hazard drop. So you don't have to play the provisional. You abandon the provisional. And then, so say your second ball went in the hazard. Now it's 3 is your penalty. So now you're hitting 4 by the green instead of 4 from the previous place you played from. So you end up saving a stroke.
Yeah.
But I guess there's this ambiguity in the rules where you have to be completely unaware of a penalty area in order for this to be enacted. But then I heard some of the guys at the gym today say, no, it's your responsibility to know where the penalty areas are. I'm like, this is fucking insane. This is absolutely fucking insane, which is one of the annoying things about golf rules. Like, that's like one guy's interpretation of it. I don't know if it's right.
Right. Right.
And I don't know if he's wrong, and then someone else in a qualifier or whatever is going to agree or disagree with me. Like I have no clue.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so we dealt with that on 17, we dealt with that on 12, we dealt with
Wow.
that on 16. Like
Yeah.
fucking God, it was just like fucking shit flying everywhere. Fucking crazy.
That's nuts.
But hey,
Yeah.
and I ended up finishing second. So
Hell yeah.
second
That's
on a
pretty
tech,
solid.
I think on a technicality, but yeah, I was only 9 shots behind the winner.
Oh yeah, whatever.
Fucking boat raced. Holy shit.
Yeah. So that means he was
Someone
under
shot three
par.
under.
Yeah, I
Three
was gonna
under.
say the only person under par.
Well, yeah, I mean, so the way that the scoring goes, like if all like so I ended up placing second.
Hmm.
I had the third best gross score. But the way that they do payouts and placing and shit, if you have a good net score, you move to the net division and
Oh yeah.
it's yeah, so it's like so the dude that finished better than me would have gotten more out of the net competition, so he got second net
Right.
instead of second gross, which pushed me into first gross. I'm sorry,
Right.
second gross.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Well, that's not so bad.
It works out. I got a skin on that birdie when fucking Rome was burning around me.
Sick.
I was fucking dying.
That's pretty good. It's funny that the guy said that too. Oh, Rome's kind of burning, and you're just sitting here thinking about that wedge shot.
Yeah, well, I am friends with that guy, so it's
Oh,
or I'm
okay.
like I am friendly with him,
Yeah, yeah.
so
Well,
it's
that
like
helps.
yeah, it's not like he just like out of nowhere
Yeah,
because that would have annoyed me.
yeah.
Like, yeah, man, I know you guys are playing like shit. Please don't draw attention to it. Like, when I say like I'm hanging on because of my T-balls, I was fucking
Yeah,
razor's edge all day. I
yeah.
just happened to get away with it for every hole except 2, 6, 17, 18. So obviously 2 of those happened at the end, 2 of those happened early. Like I was fucking flirting with it
Right,
quite a
right.
bit.
All right. Well, it's been a while since we've talked about this next thing, but I did want to bring it up because we've been following it. So the latest on the student loan payment stuff. So the gist of it is the actual student loan like forgiveness is still sitting with the Supreme Court. Um, the verdict should be provided, I believe, sometime this month, is what it was estimated back in February when they first heard the course. So imagine that they hear it in February and they're like, "Yeah, we'll get you a ruling by June." So
Oh, yeah, busy guys.
yeah, I guess they're kind of busy or whatever. So again, sometime this month, hopefully, we'll get a ruling one way or the other. I mean, realistically, I mean, I've been pretty open about this. It doesn't really affect me. Obviously, it would be great to get free money. But if it doesn't go down, whatever. Like I still pay my share. I've still been paying every month what I would normally pay. So nothing has changed for me. Um, but where this update comes in is this whole debt ceiling thing. So I don't know if you've heard about this, if people talk about it in the gym or not, but the United States has well, obviously they have a debt problem, but there is a debt ceiling basically, that we are approaching, and we've approached it many times in the past, and every single time everyone threatens to shut down the government over it. We're not going to sign this. We're not going to do that unless we fix the debt problem, whatever. And then both sides come together to an agreement and they raise the debt ceiling, right? So the United States just keeps accruing more and more debt. I want to say I'm literally making this number up, but I think it's somewhere around $31 trillion. that the United States has in debt. So what that means, I have no fucking clue. Who do we owe the debt to? I don't know. Because I've also heard it's as simple as they could just mint a coin. Remember we talked about that a few months ago? Oh, they can just mint a coin that's worth this X amount of value, and then all the debt goes away. But then it causes inflation. But we've been dealing with inflation anyway. So it's like, who the fuck knows? I don't know. I don't have time to become an economist. But we are approaching the debt ceiling, right? And that is a legitimate thing. I don't know when we're gonna hit that. And I think the the fallout is that if we hit it and we do nothing or we go over it, then the United States would default on some of its debt payments, which I don't think has ever happened in the history of the country. I don't think the United States has ever defaulted on a payment.
Well, if there's anyone that can,
Yeah.
I would expect 2023 version to be able to do it.
Yes, I would agree with that. But then it's like you hear both sides of it. Some people say it would be a good thing because it would be like a massive reset. Some people will say it would be the worst thing ever and it would fucking destroy the country and all this other stuff. And it's like, I don't know. The truth probably is somewhere in the middle, right? Like I would imagine it would be good to have some sort of reset, but like it wouldn't be the first time the economy fell apart, right? Like it wouldn't even be the first time in the last 20 years that it fell apart. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing is like,
let alone the Great
like,
Depression. Like,
so my thing too is it's like, who the fuck do you owe $31 trillion to? That's got to be other countries, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
owe it to other countries and you just go, hey, we're gonna default, like we're gonna do like country bankruptcy,
Yeah.
and it's like you can have nothing because that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, it would have ramifications across the globe too, right? Like, because then those countries wouldn't get their money and whatever.
They're never getting their money. It's $31 trillion.
Oh, yeah, that's true too.
How the fuck does that get paid off?
Yeah, it doesn't. The answer is that it doesn't. So regardless, they need to come to some sort of agreement about what they're going to do. So Republicans have weaseled their way into an agreement with the Democrats to prevent the default. However, they have included a provision in this agreement about the student loan repayment pause, which is why I just brought it up to start this little segment, if you will, if you would call it. So under this new deal, the student loan payment pause is quote unquote gone. So part of this deal, getting the Republicans to agree to sign it, was that once the bill is signed, 60 days later, payments are due. And
as they fucking should.
Yeah. And also, I believe there may also, I don't really understand a ton of it. I haven't seen any of it. I'm going off of like bits and pieces that I found from different places, but I think there might be a provision in there that prevents Biden from extending it again. So regardless, right, of this provision being in this agreement, this, whatever you call it, debt agreement, as it was ruled on originally by the Biden administration, was that the student loan payment pause was set to end when the Supreme Court gave a ruling, or on June 30th of 2023, whichever comes first, right? That was how it was written, is whichever comes first. So I'm sorry, 60 days after that. So at most, the loan repayments would have to start 60 days after June 30th, which would have been the month August. Of September, yeah. Right? So beginning September 1, everyone would have to start paying their loans again. Now they're just saying that whenever this bill gets signed, 60 days after that, payments will have to start. And people are like flipping out. And it's like, you guys don't understand how this works. Like, okay, cool. You like, you lost, I don't know when it's going to get signed, right? Say you lost 26 days, right? Like, or you also have no idea when the Supreme Court was going to rule on it. So like the Supreme Court could have ruled on it on like June 7th, right? And if on June 7th they ruled that no, what Biden did to forgive $20,000 in student loans for some people, 10,000 for most people, is unconstitutional. You cannot do that. Well, then it would be 60 days after June 7th that you would have to start paying, which would be August 7th, right? So like, again, the common theme to this episode today is that everyone's an asshole and I hate them. People are like losing their minds over the fact that they're going to have to start repaying their student loans in August versus September. It's like this shit was coming anyway. Like you've also had over 3 years, right, of not having to pay your student loans. I think the original pause was put in March of 2020. So you're looking at 3.5 years of not having to pay your student loans. What have you been doing in that 3.5 years?
Fucking off.
Yeah, spending your money on other shit. So regardless, sometime in August, we're going to have to start repaying our loans, which again, me personally, I don't really give a shit because I've been paying them the whole time. So it's just business as usual for me.
Yeah, you just can't bring down that principal much or as much.
Yeah, which is a bit of a bummer, but I mean, hey, whatever. I mean,
they're going to be fucking, this is the thing though. They're going to be fucking due at some point.
Right.
Like,
right.
Somehow, some way, somewhere, the bill will be due.
Yeah. Bill comes due eventually.
You're going to have to pay for them. May as well get it over with.
Yeah.
Or really, you should have been doing it the whole time.
Yeah, which is again what I did. I know we've talked about it before on the show, but I don't know. I don't know the math behind it about how much money I've actually saved myself.
Well, there was one day on the show where we estimated that you had already saved yourself in between 2,000 and 3,000. I know that's a little bit of a range, but like,
yeah,
just by paying your bill normally, you saved yourself. And I actually think that was just in the time. I forget how we calculated that.
Because that would have been just in the time of the payments to that point, right? Because then you would have to extrapolate into the future.
No, well, so
that money.
I think we did
with compound interest. You know what I mean? Like that money over time.
I think we figured out how much. I forget how we did the math, but I know I wouldn't have allowed math that would have been like, oh, well, normally in interest, it's $100 a month. And I've been paying for the last 36 months. That's $3,600 in savings. It's like, no, it's not because no one had to pay at the time.
Right. Right.
I think we calculated how much you brought your balance down in the time and then figured out the interest on that amount of money.
Okay. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, and again, we've talked about this before. So anyone that's been listening long enough, sorry for the repeat, but, like I've brought my balance down to the point where there is no interest on any of the loans. Right. So like the payments that I make every month go directly towards principal. Like I don't have a balance of interest on any of my loans that I have. Like I've paid the interest portion off of those loans. So I mean, obviously they will start reaccruing interest in August, but they've come down to a point where even still, when they start accruing, my minimum monthly payment will cover all of the interest accrued plus a chunk of the principal as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, I've accelerated um my payoff date by I don't know, at least 3.5 years, right? Like
Not technically, because that would imply it depends on how much interest you were paying, um, or what the rate, I guess what the ratio was of like principal to interest,
yeah.
because you may have been, I don't know if you, oh, I mean, again, I don't, it doesn't really matter. I don't know if you were I assume you were chipping away at principal in 2020.
Yeah, I think I was
I would
by
assume.
2020.
Um, so yeah, if you were chipping away at um principal and interest before then, it's not going to be a full 3.5 years less time, but it might be 18 payments,
Yeah.
20 payments. It could be that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see, I guess, over these next 2 weeks. Um, what goes down between them signing the debt ceiling bill and what the Supreme Court was going to say too, right? Like we don't know. But I mean, we're recording this for the future too. By the time this comes out, I think this is next Thursday's episode. So we're a week in the when you guys are watching this on YouTube after you click the subscribe button and like everything. Um, we're a week in the past for you right now.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So so by the time this comes out, this could all be, we could have some more clarity, right? Like we could, maybe the Supreme Court has already come down with their ruling. I doubt it.
I doubt it.
I doubt it. But, there could be some more information available. So we'll see. But interesting that we're finally here. The student loan debt payment thing is done. The pause is over. Time to get back to work, kids, and start fucking paying your bills, right? You gotta
Well, dude,
pay your fucking bills.
I think we're starting to see a little bit of, I don't know if it's normalcy or if it's at least like the repercussions. Now, as a 33-year-old, I'm not going to get hit with the repercussions of the last 3 years as hard as other people will. Like I know you sent over, someone sent over like the housing shit. Like
Yeah,
for investors in housing, things might get rough pretty soon.
yeah,
That's not me, not a real estate investor. Although I might buy into some
yeah,
REITs, yes, real.
yes.
If
Real
things
estate
fucking,
investment trusts.
yes, if they really bottom out, we're on sale.
Yeah.
That's not financial advice. I'm just an idiot. Um, but it's like, okay, so housing's looking a little shitty. Like the market's been shitty. It actually was like rebounding a touch. I don't know what the fuck that's worth.
Yeah,
Um, Sounds like people are like working. Like I'm thinking like, because I mean, obviously I deal with the kids. Like they're out looking for jobs again. Their parents are making them at least look for jobs again.
yeah,
So I don't know. It seems like some of the shit that should happen kind of is.
yeah. Yeah, I saw an interesting point. So I originally found out about this agreement on the debt ceiling with the student loan stuff on Twitter, and then I subsequently like perused Twitter and then found some articles online um, to kind of piece it all together. But someone commented on Twitter on the original post that I saw and said that this is the beginning stages of the economic collapse. And I thought it was super interesting how he described it. So he mentioned already the housing market, right? That and the thing that I sent to you, he didn't mention the thing I sent to you specifically, but he said the housing market
No.
is already declining.
Well,
And
yeah,
now he
and
said
to be fair,
people,
the thing you sent me was real estate
real estate
investing
investors. Yes, real estate
investors, which
investors.
people are gonna look at. Housing prices are down.
Yeah.
No, real estate investing
Right.
interest rates are too high. Anyway,
Right. Right. So he mentioned the housing market is falling. And now he said these people, I think he said the average um the average student loan payment is roughly like $350 a month for people. So now he goes, the housing market's already failing. Now people are going to have to spend $350 on average a month starting August moving forward. He goes, that's $350 per person per month that no longer gets pumped into the economy. And he made the argument in this Twitter thread that the economy has been artificially inflated for the last 3 years. And he gave like a bunch of examples why, but he said one of them was the student loan payment pause, that this isn't money, right? This $350 a month isn't actual money that people should be spending on stuff, right? Because if you give people extra money, they're going to spend it on shit, right? It's like that's how everyone always says, "Oh man, when I was in college, or when I was 23 years old and I was making $30,000 a year, I have no idea how I made ends meet because now I'm 47 years old and I make $92,000 a year and I barely make ends meet," right? It's like people will shrink and expand their lifestyle to accommodate how much money they have. Like very rarely are you going to find someone that makes $92,000 a year living a $45,000 a year lifestyle, right? Like it's out there and it definitely exists, but it's rare. So you have these people that essentially have been given a free $350 a month over the last 3.5 years, and now that's going away, right? So now people aren't going to have the money to, go to Home Depot and buy shit to improve their homes, or, save, quote unquote, save a couple months for a down payment for a new car, right? It's like that $350 a month now gets taken away and it gets pulled out of the economy. And I think I saw that the factor is $17.5 million per month, right? Like, so all of the people that have student loans at $350 a month, I think it comes out to 17.5 million, or maybe it's 17.5 billion. I don't,
so
again,
17.5 million doesn't sound like a lot.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a lot. It might be $17.5 billion.
Yeah.
That's going to now come out of the economy. And I read through that and I was like, wow, that is like a really well thought out point. Like that's a really good point.
Yes, it does. So I do like the point. It does have its flaws. Like that 17 billion number, there's no way it's that high because
no,
you're continuing to pay. There's if you and I, the two fucking dumb fucks, can figure out to, hey, continue paying these fucking things,
right?
Then there's plenty of people that sat there and go, yep, still paying them.
Right.
There's also some people that might have been like, well, I don't have to pay them, but I've been saving or I've been moving money around. And the second that interest comes back right out, like a week before, I'm just going to fucking drill the balance.
Right.
Like,
right.
There's definitely people who did this. Now, 75% of people definitely didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say.
Or I don't know what the number is, but like a good amount of people.
I would say more than half. More than half.
Definitely more than half. Like,
yeah.
There are some people that are truly fucking stupid. And, and it's like, it sucks because they have to get lumped in with people who don't know better. Like, because genuinely, some people don't know better.
Right.
And I don't know whose fault that is, but, it's hard when you're 18 years old and you sign up for fucking student loans. And it's like,
no one really explains that.
So none of you assholes will let me fucking buy a beer in a fucking store, but I can do this shit and no one's going to explain it to me. Sick. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. I can't go buy beer, but
every aspect of my life.
I can sign up for a $20,000 loan.
Yeah. I can't rent a car. I can't buy a beer. Actually, you can't buy tobacco in a lot of places now too. That's 21 in a lot of spots. Can't enter a casino, but I can put myself $100K in debt.
Yeah.
On the low end, 25 a year.
So I found the tweet. It's from Wall Street Silver. I follow him on
I
Twitter.
think that's usually okay, right?
Yeah, he's a decent follow.
And the other thing too is like I understand trying to make a point. It's just this like I'm arguing semantics. 17 billion is just too high.
Yeah,
But if you call it fucking 10, is it any fucking different? No.
no.
That
So
chip away at that 31 trillion.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's part of the reason why the Republicans wanted that stipulation in there is because then that money comes into the government, right? So
Yeah.
the actual numbers are there's 40 million people that owe some sort of student loan. The average is $393 per month. So it is $15.7 billion per month estimated.
Right. With again, favorable math. But yes.
Right. Yeah.
Because the other thing too is like, let's not forget this part. If
So
like
cut it down to like almost in half,
9,
right? Yeah, cut it to 9,
yeah,
right?
still a lot.
$9 billion a month is going to get pulled out of the economy starting in August.
Yeah, but yes. So this is a very in a vacuum argument, right? Because now let's say this goes down the road where housing does start to like tank. Well, the investors are right back in again because now the property values are lower so that they
Right.
can take it higher interest. Like a lot of this is cyclical. It's never going to be like
It's like
n equals
Netflix.
1. Yeah. It's never going to be like n equals 1. Like
Right.
it's like, hey, the math is it's estimated that $15.7 billion is the average monthly income from student loans. Since for 3 years, 15.7 billion has only been going to the economy and not into student loans. Like that's not true. And it's like there are trade-offs. Now, there is going to be a fucking problem. Like I'm not trying to sit here and be like, yeah, everything will be fine. It's cool. No, there's
Yeah.
going to be some fucking problems.
Right.
Like there absolutely will be. But it's not going to be so much like the student loan math is this and it's all going to the economy because it is fucking not.
Right.
You are not the only person that's not just pumping that money blindly into the fucking economy. But then it's like, things adjust. So it's like theoretically, I could pump a bunch of money back into the stock market if it fucking tanks again. Like,
yeah,
I could do that. And that sum of money would be money that would be sitting in my fucking bank account if I wanted to do so. And
right.
I won't be the only person that thinks like that. And there'll be people who think about like buying properties, commercial properties, housing properties. Fucking Dan the Window Man will be fucking swimming in it. Like,
yeah.
it's gonna be fucking crazy. There's gonna be fucking rehabs everywhere. But like, it's not gonna be so like no one can predict it like that. It's like, oh, well, we're losing 15.7 billion. It's like, no, that math doesn't work.
Right. It's not an equal, like you said, it's not n equals 1, right?
Yeah.
It's
because there's always a trade-off. Now, again, we're still fucked, but like, again, fucked to the tune of whatever. And some people, it opens up an opportunity for some people. And that's like the one thing that like, again, like as a, I guess, young privilege. I'm using young privilege now. But like as a 33-year-old, like go ahead. If shit fucking goes south, I can be frugal and I can just fucking pounce on stock market things.
right.
And I'm in a way better position to do it than I was in 2020. And even then, I did take advantage of that sale too.
Yeah. Oh, it's not low enough.
Yeah, it's never low enough.
Yeah, it's not low enough. It's got to go lower. And you got to hold it, you got to hold it long enough.
Yeah, you don't want capital gains.
Yeah, you don't want to pay that 30% tax on a $120 investment.
Yeah.
You only want to pay that 15% tax. So yeah, it's
Hopefully
gonna
commercial properties tank. That would be cool.
Yeah, then you guys can fucking buy something, right?
That would be nice.
So I saw this other thing. Well, I'll get one more thing just because it's interesting to me before we wrap things up here. So I saw this on Twitter as well. And it took me some like digging and connecting. So like on Twitter, someone tweeted a link to an article for like, I don't know, whatever, call it the New York Times or the Washington Post or something. And I went on there and they were like, according to like this study by these people. So then I had to like click on that link to go to some other thing. And then they were like, this study was done by this person. I had to follow like 4 chains of the link to find the actual study because, again, I don't want to read it 4 chains down the line. I want to read it from the people that actually produced the study. So the study was that raising a child can cost more than $30,000 per year in the United States. So granted, I see that headline on Twitter and with a child on the way in a couple months, it's interesting to me. And I go, that seems a little high. So that's when I do my researching the research and I find the original article by the people that put it together. And it was by a company or a website called Smart Asset. No idea anything about them, what they do, but they just produced this thing. So they calculated the cost of raising one child in 381 metro areas across the United States, considering the extra costs of food, housing, childcare, healthcare, transportation, and other necessities when a 2-adult household adds a child. So they list out all these things, right? Again, if you Google Smart Asset, raising a child costs more than $30,000 a year, you'll find this article. So number one in the list is San Francisco, where they estimate it costs over $35,000 a year to raise a child. Fourth on the list is Barnstable on the Cape in Massachusetts, at just over $33,000 a year. And then right behind them, fifth on the list, they actually include three neighboring cities, I suppose you would call it, of Boston, Cambridge, Newton, is just over $32,000 a year. They estimate it costs to raise a child.
That's going to be Barnstable County, aka the whole Cape.
Yeah, it says Barnstable Town.
The town of fucking Barnstable?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. There's no.
So
let me. I need to.
Let me continue. This is what I'm getting at here. So they go through. I forget where. Like they have the least expensive places to raise a child. It's like Tennessee, South Carolina, Indiana. Alabama, like Gadsden, Alabama, Morristown, Tennessee is the cheapest place in the country according to these people, and it costs $14,000 a year. So here's my gripe with this. Because I read this article.
Fucking stupid.
And I think it's full of shit.
It is.
Truthfully.
I'm telling you right now it is.
So how they determine this is they looked at childcare, housing, healthcare, transportation, food, and then something called other necessities. So their data and methodology section, let me read that to you really quick. The data is as of 2022. Smart Asset used MIT living wage calculator data to compare the living costs of a household with 2 adults and 1 child to that of a childless household with 2 adults. So they literally included housing costs for people that are 2 people with no kids and 2 people with 1 kid. So right off the bat here, I can tell you this is a bullshit study because you're going to include the housing costs that you would have to pay regardless.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like your house that you currently live in.
Yeah.
Your increase in housing costs is $0.
Exactly. Like if my mortgage is $1,000 a month and I have a child, my mortgage is still $1,000 a month. Right? Like that doesn't go up just because I had a kid, right? So there's so many flaws in this fucking study. Again, when I read it and I saw they were like, oh, in Boston, it costs over $30,000 to raise a child. No, you know what else is really fucking expensive in Boston? Rents and mortgages and homes, right? So, like, yes, obviously, it's going to theoretically cost more if you include the cost of housing, because housing, Boston is one of the most expensive fucking places in the country to live. So just based off of housing alone, it's going to be at the top of the list. But again, whether or not I have a child, it's not like having a pet. You know what I mean? Like when you rent an apartment, if you have a pet, they charge you like an extra $50 a month for a dog or like $30 a month for a cat. It's not like your mortgage company goes, oh, you're having a child. Oh, we're going to have to add $300 to your mortgage. Like, this is how that shit works. Like, your mortgage is your mortgage, whether or not you have kids or not. Whether you have 7 kids or no kids, it's still the same amount of money. Your mortgage company does not give a shit how many kids you have. So I just don't understand where any of this shit comes from, right? The only thing that is actually like an increased cost is childcare, right? And like
Well, a
food, right? Like
significant
you
cost.
probably
Like
have to, yeah, you gotta buy some more food. So maybe you spend, but even, maybe you spend an extra $75 a week or something, you know what I mean? So like, you know, I mean, that's nominal compared to what childcare costs, but that's your true increase in cost, right? Is childcare. I think everyone knows that. But like this study again, to claim that it costs over $30,000 a year to in expenses, right, to raise a child, I think is absolutely asinine. And anybody that reads that and believes it is a dumbass.
they should have actually, if they really wanted to make it seem even more expensive, they could have. They could have taken what 4 years of $80,000 school would be, so 320,000, and you got
Yeah,
18 years to earn it. So divide that by 18. That's add that in now.
right, right,
What is that? Almost 20K a year?
probably, yeah.
A little less, 15. Yeah. Oh well, it's actually not 32. It's 49
Yeah.
because you need to pay for 4 years of $80,000
Yeah.
school.
So then obviously too, in the comments on Twitter under the original article, everyone, and this is the interesting part where I find like the psychology interesting of this stuff, because a lot of people in the comments were like, this is why I'm not having kids, or like, this is a great reason to never have kids, or why would I have kids? I would rather spend that money on myself, right? Like a lot of people said, I would rather spend $30,000 a year on myself. And it's like, it's super interesting because we have these, again, not to go down like a rabbit hole, a psych rabbit hole on this, but we have these media outlets that like pump up this stuff, right? That it's like, oh, well, if you live in Boston, it's going to cost over $30,000 a year to raise a child. And then so what does like the average dum dum look at? They're like, well, I would rather spend $30,000 a year on me, right? Like I could take a vacation for that. When in realistically, we just talked about that those numbers are fake, right? It's not actually accurate. Um, it's encouraging people to not have kids. And now the birth rate is super low for the entire world, actually, let alone just the United States. I know Elon Musk has talked about this all frequently, that the declining birth rate is a legitimate problem, because if you extrapolate over the next 100 years, who the fuck is going to be left? If we don't hit our replacement rate, right? So it's interesting. There's a lot of interesting things there, and I don't know, maybe if you give Vinny enough time on Twitter, he could find some conspiracy that like George Soros is behind it all, that like because he fucking hates the United States and wants people to not have kids, so the replacement rate drops and the United States weakens because we run out of people in 150 years. Who knows, right? But like some of that stuff is fun to play around with, but I I find it super interesting. Again, as someone who's about to have a child, that there's this like information like being pumped out there that incorrectly, right? That it costs in some places over $30,000 a year just to raise a child, when that's completely false. So it's interesting, right? Again, I actually have skin in the game on this one. So people are dumb and I hate
Yep.
everybody.
Yep. They are.
Yep. Well, that being said, you want to wrap this up?
Yep. Mine will
What
be
do you
very
got?
quick. So speaking of common courtesy earlier, put your fucking grocery cart away. If you're at the dollar store, put the fucking cart somewhere,
Yep.
because you could be the person that's driving down a busy road and the shopping cart actually rolls down a driveway and you fucking run into it while driving your car. Now, again, if you're the person who leaves the shopping cart out, probably not going to be you. It'll be somebody else's problem. So why give a fuck about that?
Right.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that the other day.
That's
Shopping
pretty
cart
solid.
just leaving the Dollar Tree, just took the ramp down. Some woman went and stopped it. I'm like watching it. I go, someone's gonna fucking drill this thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm like walking towards the windows as if I'm gonna fucking do something. All I'm gonna do is get hit by a fucking car. And then it's like I'm gonna have the shopping cart, like, and then what?
Yeah.
But some lady grabbed it. So that was good. That was a nice display of humanity.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
people couldn't put, because A, you needed a fucking shopping cart at the dollar store, and then
Yeah.
you
How much
could,
stuff are you buying?
dude, people buy a shitload of stuff in there. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like a ton.
One metric shit ton. How much is that? Like, $60. Imagine spending 60 bucks at the
Everything's a
dollar
buck
store.
25.
Yeah, inflation, man.
Dollar Tree doesn't get as far as it used to.
Yeah, $1.25 store.
So put your shit away. Don't be
Yeah.
a fucking cunt.
Yeah, don't be a fucking piece of shit. All right. So my final thought is to piggyback on or to reconnect, however you want to say it, for my opening thought of golf when we were talking a little bit about golf. So last night when I played Chimawa, I shot, and I texted you this, and I sent you my stats too, but I shot a 5 over, which is a 37 there. Cause again, I played the back, and the back 9 there has 4 par 3s and no par 5. So it's a par 32 on the back. Again, shorter course, like I've said multiple times. But so I shot a 37, I shot a 5 over last night, played pretty well, right? Again, I'm feeling good about my golf game right now. So today I had a chunk of time in the middle of the day. So I was actually able to get out and play at like 11 o'clock today. So I go out and I played the front, and I shot 4 over on the front with a birdie. I hit 4 out of the 9 greens that I played. So I just felt fucking great. Like the game just like it feels better. It feels easier. And I think I might be okay at golf.
This attitude is not gonna work.
So
this isn't
I
gonna be a
know
problem.
that this doesn't count. This isn't how it works. And it's complete bullshit, other than me just making myself feel better, because obviously you can just cherry pick this and do whatever. However, because it was last night and today, if you combine the 2 scores from the back 9 that I played last night and the front 9 that I played this morning, that is a 77. So for the first time, again, I know it really doesn't actually count, but for the first time ever, that would have me breaking 80 on a golf course. And it's a par what? It's a par 67.
67.
So it would be a 10 over, right? So again, there's asterisks all over the place here, right? It's
Yeah, this
not
is
a
like this is
it's
almost like hole in one on a par three type of
yeah.
controversy.
Yeah, it's not a consecutive 18. It's a par 67 course. Like so I know, like me sitting here being like, "Oh, I would have shot under 80." But had I played a consecutive 18, would I have broken 80? I don't Probably not. I don't know. I don't know what you can add in for fatigue, right? As you go through, but if you tack on 4 or 5 more strokes, then that would have been like an 81 or an 82. And I absolutely would have been thrilled if I went out in a consecutive 18 and shot an 82. Right? Like that's fantastic. Um so yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. So I had, similar to what you said, when you hit a shot to 4 feet. So today on the sixth hole, I played with these two kids that are, I don't know, they're probably in their like mid to late 20s. Um, they weren't super good. Like one of them could hit the ball really far, but it was literally like 2 fairways over. And the other kid just wasn't good. But we were on the tee at the sixth hole, which, if you remember, is like the super
Oh,
short
I
par
don't
four.
like that hole.
Yeah, it's you got woods
The
on the
play is
left,
just hit it
on the
at the
right.
green, right?
Yeah, so it's woods on the right, obviously OB with the fence, and it's like a 260 yard or less, depending on where the tee boxes are. Um, but you've got a hazard to the left of the green, and then you've got a bunker
There's a hazard
on the
left of the
right
green
on the
too.
right side of the green. Yeah, it's red stakes. So
I remember the water short and like, yeah, dumb hole, Mary.
yeah, it's a dumb hole. So we're there, and there's old dudes playing in front of us. They're on the green, and those two kids are doing what everyone does on that hole, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna try and drive the green." I'm like, "All right, dude, whatever." So I pull a 6 iron, and I crank a 6 iron down there. It trickles
Does
off
that
the
go past the
left.
water? The water right?
It's woods right and like OB. There's a fence.
Oh, there's no water there.
No.
There's a giant hill on the left.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Massive
so
hill
it's
on the left.
trees. It's not water on the right.
Yeah, it's trees.
Oh,
I mean, there's marsh to the right of the tee box,
no, that's not what
but
I'm thinking
like
of.
once you get to the fairway, it's just trees.
Okay. Then yeah, I don't remember that hole.
So I hit 6 iron. It goes down. It trickles off the left side of the fairway into the rough, and I have 75 yards to the pin. So I go, okay, all right, let me, I'll pull. I have 75. I feel pretty good with that number. I pull a 56, and I take a schwack at it, and it goes right for the fucking pin. And so it's probably the undulations on the green,
TV
but
doesn't do it justice.
from where I was, it appeared as if there was side spin on it. Again, it probably just bounced off the fucking whatever mound was where it landed on the green. And it went a little bit sideways and literally left me a 4-foot putt for birdie, which I hit. And that was my only birdie of the day. So it's like one of those holes that, again, it's super short. And everyone that walks up to it wants to just pull driver and hit driver down there and get it there. Oh, I'm going to drive the green. But I am trying to play smarter, right, with the game. So I go 6 iron, wedge to 4 feet. Now, not that I'm going to hit the fucking wedge to 4 feet every time, but I think the play on that hole is 6 iron, wedge, get it on the green, and then, 2 putt, 1 putt, depending on how close it is, and get out of there. Have a day. Because once you pull driver, now you're bringing all of the OB on the right into play. You have the hazard to the left of the green, right? Like there's a bunker on the right side of the green. It's just a fucking mess down there.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to pull this up fast enough on the GPS, but I'm guessing that for most golfers, there's no way that first hole is 330. No fucking, is that right? 330?
Um, Maybe depending on where the tees are.
Yeah, oh, okay, these are back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm not that insane. There is, like, according to this little GPS thing, there is water on 6. It's a little creek, but
Where's the creek?
on the right. Can you see this? Or is it too shitty?
Kinda. No, I can kind of see it. Um,
Little creek
yeah,
on the
that's the
right.
OB.
Yeah, but there is a creek there. Because I'm like, dude, I'm like, I think I remember that hole because the fairway's like super narrow, which I see.
Yeah, it is.
Would you say it usually plays? Like, do you think like 245 middle, depending on the pin?
Yeah, depending on the pin.
Yeah, man. I mean, the right play there is whatever fucking ball keeps the fucking thing in play. Because frankly, this is like too narrow to like really fit a strategic like ideology or a method. Like bombing it doesn't really seem to help you out that much, and there's fucking trouble all along the right. So
Right.
whatever makes the most sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also technically the hardest hole in the course. It's the one handicap, which I don't think is as accurate. Right. I mean, whatever, I don't know, whatever the fucking shit it is that they use to go in to calculate that stuff. But I don't know. I think there's holes like I think the 18th hole
I think the one
is probably the hardest hole in the
I heard
course.
I heard somewhere, and I don't know if this is correct. I heard that the number one handicap has got to be on the front.
Really? Huh. So I wonder if 18 is 2. Let me check.
But you also got to
Um,
remember that sixth hole is so fucking tight. That's like part of what makes it so hard.
yeah. Look at that. The 18th hole is the number 2 handicap.
Yeah. And then, so it doesn't have to be odds and evens, but I forget why I heard that on the front, like one is almost always on the front. I don't know if it's a rule or just like
Yeah.
generally that's how it goes.
Yeah, because that's what I mean. Like I personally think the 18th hole is the hardest hole in the course because it's a split fairway and it's like there's a creek at like 250 yards from the tees. So it's like the break in the fairway is also probably at like 205. So like you either have to lay it back shorter than 205, try and take on the creek with the driver and get it over, and you're still in the rough because then the fairway doesn't pick up probably until about 260 with the creek at 250. So it's like if you lay it back to say 190, now you have like a 215-yard shot
That's too
into the
far.
green.
That's too far.
Yeah, it's hard. I think it's the hardest hole in the course. I don't think I've ever made par on that hole.
Could also be a dumb hole.
Yeah, it could be. I think the best I've ever played it was almost by accident. I pumped a driver onto the 12th fairway and
Oh, that could
then
be in play.
and then
I love doing shit like that.
hit a shot from the 12th fairway over the trees like short of the green on 18 and then chipped it on and I think 2 putted for a bogey. I think that's the best I've ever played that hole.
Does 18 play downhill?
Uh no, I would say it's slight uphill.
Oh, that hole's just a bitch then.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough hole. All right. I gotta piss.
Yep. All right. So that's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching. Again, if you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Like, rate, review if you're an audio only guy. Tell everybody you know about the show. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod, on Twitter at Sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks, website sarcasmspeaks.com. Go to the merch store, buy some merch, then go to moonbrew.com. Use the promo code Jared16159 to get 10% off your order over at Moonbrew. Get some sleep tea, sleep great. Then you can go to grillyourassoff.com. Use the promo code SarcasmPod to get 10% off your order every single time you check out. The best cooking stuff you can find in the world over at grillyourassoff.com. And then lastly, we have mybookie.com, where you can use that promo code SarcasmPod again to double your first deposit up to $1,000 over there. So until next time, good night.